Hi everybody, I'm Al Berstein here with Tszyu, who is getting ready to fight for the IBF 154-pound title against Bakhram Murtazliev. And Tim, this is yet another chance for you to win a world title. We'll talk a little bit in a moment or two about what happened in your last fight, but this opportunity has to feel good to you to get back into the championship fray.
Yeah, look, any fight is another opportunity to get back, but to be fighting for another world title straight after a crazy fight that happened in March, it's a big honor for me.
Well, let's revisit that fight in March, because your fans and everyone watched a remarkable evening of boxing, one that was didn't go exactly the way you wanted it to, but it was a badge of honor for you even in losing. And then, strange situation at the end of the second round where you caught an elbow to the top of the head. Terrible, terrible cut. How much did that cut impede you during the course of the fight? It was a bloody mess, obviously.
Yeah, well, look, it didn't feel like a normal cut. It felt like something different, something I've never experienced before. I guess for me, the biggest distraction was the emotions running through my head. Each round I'd go back to the corner, rather than resetting and thinking about the game plan and keeping my breath fresh. It would be all about how do I deal with this, you know? And that's the biggest lesson I learned, was to be able to reset during those crucial times and during those that 1 minute that we have off, and be able to go on to the next round.
Andre Ward made an interesting point about that situation, and he said the thing with Tim is he's faced this amazing adversity, and in a way it's going to help him moving forward, because you're not going to face something quite that bad probably again in your boxing career.
Yeah, look, having first of all, blood rushing to your eyes with an opponent who's that tall that you have to sort of take a shot to land a shot. Right. It was one of those type of styles. That is adversity, but you know, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger.
Obviously, going into that fight, I think it's fair to say boxing fans and pundits had a lot of respect for you. You fought a tough schedule, you became a champion, but that performance was such a courageous one that I think the respect for you kind of redoubled. And I know the result wasn't what you wanted, and you ended up losing your title, but was there a small bit of solace in the fact that the boxing community universally heaped praise on you for showing that courage?
Yeah, you know, it was for me to express who I am and my personality and my bravery to the whole entire world. And you know, this type of things, they're priceless, to be able to show that and show what I'm about and who I'm about and where I come from and my beliefs, you know, to be able to stick in there and keep going. That's what I'm all about. And I was, on that fight night, I was willing to die, and that's how I am on every fight.
Well, what you did kind of transcends winning or losing, because the way you performed. So now let's flash forward. Now here you are, you have to get past that. You have to compartmentalize it. How were you during with not only recovering from the injury, but trying to get your mental outlook back? How were you able to close the book on that and say, okay, that's done, now I'm moving forward?
You know what, it was a really quick transition. There was no dwelling, there was no regretting what I was in.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I would have more regretted the fact that if they did stop the fight and I did win, I would have regretted that. But the fact that I went on, it showed my true character. As soon as the fight, that fight finished, I sort of had a little 1 week break, and then I went straight back into. I went and ran a marathon the week after.
Wow!
I was pumped and I was ready to go. So there was no, I don't know. I didn't dwell. I just moved forward, and that's why I was ready to go on again and again.
Well, and here you are now, months later. You don't believe too much in tune-up fights. You want to get in and get major fights. And here you are fighting again for a world title, and you're facing Murtazliev, who is a big, tall fighter, not as tall as Fundora, but he will have a height and reach advantage on you. And he's a fighter that fights off the front foot, kind of a brawler. How do you match up stylistically, do you think, with him?
Good question. I guess we'll find out on fight night. I haven't really stylistically thought about it. I'm just bringing my style forward, and let's just see if he can keep up with me.
Now, he fought for the title and won the title against Jack Koke, 39-year-old Jack Koke. And he hasn't really fought the level of opposition, even though he has a title. Koke was probably the toughest guy he's fought, and it's fair to say you will be the toughest now that he's ever fought. Do you think your schedule of fighting maybe tougher opposition could be beneficial to you in this fight?
Yeah, for sure. I think experience plays a big part, especially being able to, fight different styles and high caliber type of opponents. Look, every fight's hard. There's no such thing as an easy fight, especially at this level. So this will be his first, I guess, major test.
Yeah. When you look at him, what you've seen of him, what do you think is his best weapon offensively, and what is it that you have to worry about?
I think he's like a dog in there, He's a dog, and for me that always presents a tremendous task. Stylistically wise, there are certain oppositions that could be more skilled, but where he comes from and his background and his fighting style, these guys they don't quit.
No.
And some of the hardest spars and fights I've had are against, I guess I'd say, less skilled opponents, but someone that's got the dog in them, So I'm looking forward to this type of challenge.
Yeah, he comes from a very tough background where he had to scrap for everything in life that he was going to get. And you're right, there is dog in him for sure. And it should be a very interesting fight. Most people feel that stylistically it makes for a great fight. You are very much about that. You have almost a sense of duty to fans, and you've spoken about it, that you feel like it's entertainment. It should be exciting for the fans.
Yeah, for sure. I love bringing these exciting type fights where people are, when they're watching, they're on their seat, and going crazy about it. So that's what it's all about for me.
Getting a title shot again. You lost your WBO title, but here you are right back again, some months later with a chance. How important was it for you to fight for a title quickly after the last fight?
For me, fighting for a title means basically being the shot caller. Shot caller being in a position where they come to you. When you don't have a title and you're dangerous and you've got someone like me in front of you, the risk to reward ratio, a lot of fighters will say, you know what, nah, no thanks. But when you've got a title, they come to you. So that's my main position. So getting that title is kind of an important business part of the whole equation.
Come
because
to Papa.
It gives you a
Come
chance.
To Papa. Yeah, exactly. Well put. Speaking of that, so how interested are you in the future in getting a rematch with Sebastian Fundora?
Definitely something I want in the near future. The best thing about it is we're still young, and there's still plenty of time for certain big fights to be made. But boxing changes. We're here now. In 6 months' time, there's going to be different champions. There's going to be different contenders. Some are going to move up. Some are going to move down. It all changes, so whatever's the best option at that present moment is what I'm looking for.
And you're in a division, the 154-pound division, that I would think you're feeling good about because there's been an influx of talent and there's a lot of great fights to be made.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there's a couple of 147s have moved up.
Yeah.
A couple of 154s have been knocked down, and it's just constantly changing, and it's always evolving.
Yeah, and for you that's...
And right now it's red hot, 154
It is,
the division.
It is. For a little while it looked like the division might cool off a little bit,
and
but
then back.
Now it's all eyes are fixated on it. This fight is going to be a special one because your dad, Kostya, the great Hall of Fame boxer, is going to be at the fight. Does that make you feel extra happy?
Yeah, it's going to be a good feeling, It took a bit of time, I guess, to convince him, but I think he's pulled the trigger, and I'm glad that we're going to see him there.
Yeah, I would think it's going to add special meaning to get him there, and I know it's been a kind of a journey with him getting to be at your fights, but at this point I would think it would have some special meaning.
Yeah, for sure. Look, this has been a family business of ours for such a long time. My dad migrated from a little town, Serov, Russia, for boxing, and where boxing's taken us, and for him to be able to, I guess, relive a little bit.
Sure.
You know, not be completely in it, but to relive it and feel it, because he hasn't felt that in a long time. It'll be special for me as well.
Yeah, that's great. And you know, it's interesting. You navigate through waters that can be tricky. When someone has a father or a parent of any kind that is huge in the field that they get into, those are tricky waters to navigate. And you've done it in an interesting way. While you've shown respect to him, you have virtually demanded, but in a very interesting way, your own identity. And I always found that interesting, you know, because you can do it in kind of a disarming way that sometimes is brash, sometimes it's humble, but you find a way to tell people, I'm me, I'm not just an extension of my father.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a big part of my own self, is to become my own person. And when I think about it, my biggest sometimes competitor is my dad, you know?
His aura as a fighter.
Yeah, everything. And for me, it became from creating my own identity to becoming, let's say, the greatest boxing family ever lived. And for me to do something like that, then I have to overpass him. So that for me, by overpassing him, we'll create a legacy for the rest of our family.
That's an intriguing way to look at it. And of course, your brother also a professional boxer, so you guys are creating a family legacy. But that's a fascinating way to look at it, that you're trying to not compete with him personally, but make sure that you do your part as well to make it a legacy.
Yeah, of course. No, that's the goal.
Yeah, that's fascinating. That's great. Well, you've handled that very, very well over the course of time. Now, you're a 29-year-old, so you're right in the middle, the prime of your career, and you're very interesting because you express joy and enthusiasm for every part of boxing, for the training, for the fights themselves, even the lead up to fights. You know, you embrace it. You get out here and talk to everybody. You're honest and forthright with everybody. So I would think that at this juncture, sitting at age 29, you've got to be pretty optimistic about where things are headed for you.
You know what? Like we started this at a small little place, and there was not much of a boxing scene in Australia, and we didn't really know how far we could go, you know. And I remember sitting with my manager, and we basically said, let's just go all the way to the very top. And right now we're at a position where we're not just at the top, but we could go to unparalleled universes right now. And my time right now is so exciting because, again, the world is my oyster.
And are you feeling good about the fact that have added so much to the boxing scene in Australia, which has been burgeoning with a number of really good fighters, both men and women champions?
Yeah, it's an honor for me to say, you know, like when I fight, Australia stops and watches, you know, and that was a big goal of mine, to be able to say, stop and let's watch. Let's all come together as families, as people, and watch boxing.
Well, guess what? Next Sunday on Main Event, they will be able to watch you fight as you fight for the 154-pound title. Good luck to you, Tim.
Thank you.
Tszyu.